Hey, what's up, homies? It's Indypride here, bringing you another Follow Samurai 2v2. This time, again, I am with my good friend Sprint, and we are playing two pretty decent players. They're both from the 666 clan. Don't know what that's about. Kind of scary. But we got Razka and Exo, and they are both bringing two 150 ranges. Razka has a white bear and a black bear 150 range, and Ezko has an infantry de marine 150 range, and I thought he had another 150, but I'm not too worried about it. And we are playing on Rivertown, which is a very underplayed map, and I actually enjoy it a lot. I don't get to play it too often, but before we get into this replay, I just want to say I'm going to try to not do my motor mouth, Speedy Gonzalez kind of commentary. It is hard for me, especially on some of these battles, just because they go by so quickly and so much happens in such a short period of time. So I'm going to try not to do that. It might happen anyway, so if it does, and you have a problem with that, well, screw you. All right, so here we go. I'm going to press play. And at the beginning of this replay, we are both going to try to push the hill, the ridge in the middle of the map, maybe the defining feature of Rivertown. But the problem is that they are actually bringing better cavalry and more cavalry than we are. They each have some 16 attack and 22 attack Yariki, and this was a very early in my Fallen Samurai career. I think I'm only a 4 or 5 star at this point, and we're going up against 10 stars. And I think one of them might have actually been Emerald or Ruby, I can't remember. One of them was really highly ranked. But looking at my setup real quick, it's pretty standard for my Bushido rushes. I've got 2 line infantry, a black tortoise, and a black bear. I've got some three Shogatai, Katana Kachi, and some spear levy meat shields up front, and then my cav. And one of the glorious things, of course, about Bushido generals is cav capture, and that is going to play a part in this battle. We're going to be able to keep them from getting the shrine and the archery range, keep that out of their hands because of our Bushido gen. So even though we have the cav disadvantage, I would say, because my cavalry just can't stack up to theirs yet, we can still prevent them from capping dojos and still have a pretty formidable cavalry force, even though it's not quite as good as theirs. So the funny thing about this battle was that, and it was actually very smart of them, they have, especially Razka has a line infantry build. I mean, Exo does too, and they were smart not to push the hill. So they kind of slew us down at the beginning so that we didn't push all the way up to the top of the ridge. But I am going to take the ridge now, and it was smart of them because they are now going to take a position down at the bottom where they can use their 150 range to their fullest potential and get the most range for their buck. So Exo is going to kind of spread out into the town itself, and Razka is going to line up on this left side here, looking at from their perspective in these woods, and he's going to get a double line fire going, and it's going to be a very dangerous line fire that I have a lot of trouble dealing with, and you'll see that in a little bit. I only have 2 line units, so I am obviously going to rush straight into the gunfire and try to get my spear levies out in front to just soak up those bullets. But it's not easy, and he does a great job of doing a double line fire, but we'll get to that when we get to that. At the moment, just positioning now, they are all pushing their cav over to our left flank. And I don't remember what kind of generals they had. I think one of them had a shooter. Exo has a shooter general, yeah. And Razka does. I'm just going to say teal and blue from now on. Blue has a shooter gen with rally, and teal has a shooter gen with rally as well. So they can't cap dojos with their cavalry, and that's a luxury that we can. So I'm going to keep my spear levy. I have 1 spear levy that's kind of going to help capture buildings and help out Sprint. In hindsight, it would have actually been nice to have had that over on my side because I needed every meat shield that I possibly could. But I'm going to bring all my cavalry around to back up Sprint, and we're just going to position now. I'm going to get the top of the hill, which would be a good position if I had the range advantage, but I obviously do not, only having 2 line units. And my black bear is only a 2 chevron. So yeah, 2 upgrades in reload skill, and that's all they have. So like I said in my last commentary, I enjoy the Bushido melee builds a lot more than the line infantry builds, but I'm going to experiment with it. I'm still only a level 7 in Flawless Samurai, so if I continue to play it and Halo 4 and Assassin's Creed 3 stop soaking up all my attention, I will do some more Flawless Samurai as well as Shogun 2 Vanilla and maybe experiment with some different builds. But for the moment, I've been enjoying the melee rush builds of Bushido generals. So Sprint is all spread out. He's got a Shogutai in loose formation and his cavalry all on the left flank, ready to get into a cav battle if need be. And we're just going to kind of wait it out here for a minute or two. Just at this moment, we were just kind of strategizing, talking to each other. We were on Skype, just talking to each other, seeing what we were going to do. And we decided that I was going to push up on Razka first. And I keep my cavalry over there, and this was actually a feint that we were talking about. I was going to keep my cavalry over way on the left flank, and then kind of gradually bring them back over, and then bring them back behind my own lines and try to flank all the way around, which means I'm going to have to... It's going to take a while because my cavalry is really far away, but it means that... And this is actually a problem for Teal, is that he's going to keep his I believe he keeps his cavalry over on that side, and we don't do a cav battle over there, so he doesn't have all the cav support. And he doesn't have all that cav support to prevent my rush from coming in. But I am going to say right now that I take a ton of losses on this rush. And it wasn't even necessarily my fault. I think I did it pretty well. There's just no cover at this point. And I'm going to bring my spear levies up front and then bring my line infantry up at the same time and try to get some shots off. But he has better line infantry than me, and he suppressed my entire line. He did suppression fire on it. And so that there's going to be a big morale penalty, and I'm going to lose my mid shields pretty early on. But at Sprint and I are now doing the feint. He successfully was over on the left flank, and he's going to quickly shift over to the right. And I'm going to bring my rush Shogutai into melee as I possibly can. It's all about getting into melee. And I have the 2 line infantry units that are getting some good shots off on his Black Bears. So I'm now into melee, and what looked like really bad for me with the what looked like might turn into a mass rout is now over, and I'm finally into melee and doing a lot of damage to him. And we're kind of getting tied up behind my lines. He's got some cavalry in behind me, but I got my Black Bears to turn around and get some shots off on them. But here comes Blue's cav, and he's going to go right up the middle and just tie down all my Shogutai, which was a good plan, except that he didn't surround them. And he gets a bunch of Yariki kind of bunched up in there, and it allows me to get my Black Bears to start shooting into that cav blob and do a lot of damage to him. So as you can see now, my cavalry is flanking around behind my lines. They're going to go around and try to hit Teal and Blue in the rear, and I'm going to bring my general around as well and try to do as much damage as we can from the flank. Sprint's cav is in melee as well, trying to take out all his cavalry, and we're just kind of blobbed up in the middle trying to kill everything we possibly can. But we did a great job of bottling up that cavalry. If he'd used that better, they would have been in really good shape, but he just pretty much mass routes because I'm able to get 2 line units to just tear them apart. And my cavalry is now flanking around. I pretty much mass routed Teal, and we're going to push in on Blue and just completely get an encircle off. But this is not over yet. The balance bar is still pretty much even, and Blue has a lot of units left, and he's got double line fires going, and he's going to try to take out the Shogutai of Sprint that are in the middle there. But unfortunately for him, I have my cavalry that's flanked all the way around, and I have my line infantry shooting in on the flank, and he's going to crumble here pretty quick. They did a good job of getting line units facing multiple directions and getting flanking shots off, but I think they just didn't have, because the river town kind of created choke points that made it hard for their line to shoot and allowed us to get in there using cover from the buildings, and so our melee was able to get in. And we both used our cavalry and our line infantry really effectively. So we've got into the rear of Blue, and he's just not going to be able to stand for very much longer. Shogutai are into the red bears and the white bears of Teal, and he's just completely surrounded, and they are going to mass rout very shortly. So I want to say good game to them, because that was one of the few actually good games I've had on Follow Samurai. Like I've said before, I think the skill level on Follow Samurai is maybe lacking a little bit at some points, but they were actually pretty good players. They did a good job, not the best job, but they did a pretty solid job of double line fire. And as you can see, both me and Sprint took a lot of damage in that battle, and it was a close one. So I hope you enjoyed that replay. Like I said in a previous battle, I'm going to try to get some more vanilla Shogun 2 replays for you guys, because I know you want to see that. I just don't have any at the moment, so I'm just doing Follow Samurai. But I'm going to try to get some more, and I will see you on the post-battle screen in a few minutes. Thanks. So I think Speedy Gonzalez might have returned that battle. I think I kind of spoke fast again, but hey, it's my commentary style. Sorry, not sorry. But here we go. Let's look at the stats real quick. This was a medium funds and a medium unit size battle, so obviously the numbers will be a little bit skewed on the lower end, but I mean, obviously you can probably understand how they translate. I deployed 1,000 men, almost twice as many as Sprint. I've noticed in these medium funds battles, Sprint brings pretty tiny armies. Just because I think he likes to bring like one really powerful line infantry unit, and then the rest like a melee rush like Shogatai, and then some meat shields, and obviously really good cav. And like those Yariki that have 24 attack, like those obviously cost a lot of money, and so you can't bring a massive army on a medium funds battle like this. But Razka and Exo both brought the same amount of men. Let's take a quick look at the stats. I had a Shogatai with 130 men, which is actually probably equivalent to like 200 plus on a large unit size. So they did really well. My Yariki did well, did a good job. I did a good job flanking with my cavalry and hitting them in the flank where they were exposed. And my units did pretty well. Razka did a great job on that opening volley. He did a ton of damage to me. He just didn't do quite enough, and I think maybe he would have been better served having maybe one less infantry unit, one less cav unit, and then investing in some Shogatai to tie me down, so he could finish me off with his line infantry. But yeah, I can't really talk about how he played, because he played pretty well that battle, I think. Sprint did very well. He had two 100 kill Shogatais. As usual, he always gets a ton of kills with his Shogatai. And Exo had an infantry Daemarine with 150. I will probably end up bringing some replays of me bringing Marine units. I don't do it a lot, but because I'm used to bringing maybe 1 or 2 line infantry units, on the large unit sizes, I'll usually bring like 1 Marine and then like 1 maybe Black Tortoise Force or something like that. So I'll probably bring... I mean, they're ridiculous. Like, Marine units in this game are absolutely ridiculous, but there are ways of shutting them down, and I'll probably do a tutorial at some point. If Fall of Samurai isn't completely irrelevant by then, how to shut down really powerful line infantry units. But yeah, they played well. I think it was an exciting battle, and I hope we get the chance to play them again, because they were a worthy opponent. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Going to be bringing you some more Vanilla Shogun 2 replays as soon as possible, and I will talk to you later. See ya.